The budget analysis of the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company under the firm's capital expenditure has revealed that 450 billion naira was budgeted for FGN Power Intervention Fund. The government-owned enterprise's expenditure intends to spend a total of 454.81 billion naira in 2024. 2.44 billion naira will be spent on personnel costs, 2.36 billion on other recurrent costs, 580 million on general travel and transport, 15 million on utilities, 110 million on materials and supplies, 210.75 million on general maintenance services, 34 million on other services, 60 million on fuel and lubricants, 40 million on financial charges, 576 million on miscellaneous, and 736.51 million on supplementary overhead. Most of the firm's spending would be on power intervention funds in the new year. As of May 2022, the federal government's intervention fund to electricity distribution companies rose to 2.9 trillion naira. And the market capitalization of the Nigerian Exchange Limited depreciated for the first time in the new year. At the close of trading on Wednesday, the 8-day rally in the market was halted as the market cap dipped by about 638 billion naira to close at 44.885 trillion naira. This is coming a day after the market cap crossed the 45 trillion naira milestone. Impacted by the depreciation were banking stocks, most of which suffered a loss. The downturn in the equity market comes a day after the anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, questioned some banks' managing directors over a fraud that was uncovered at the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. The major drivers of the day's market were the stocks of indigenous conglomerates, Transnational Corporation PLC, Access Corp, United Bank for Africa, Chase Bank, and Zenith Bank. And a report by the financial derivative company has projected Nigeria's inflation to rise to 28.7% in December. This means that inflation in Nigeria will be at a record high in view of the fact that global and regional inflation has slowed and in many cases fallen. Nigeria is fast becoming an outlier. The report stated that the figure, which would be a record high on the country's inflation figure, would be correct subject to the margin of error between minus 0.5% to plus 0.5%. It stated that month-on-month inflation would see a marginal increase of 2.11%. It stated that monthly inflation is a more accurate measure of current inflation than annual inflation, as it gives the current situation in the market more than historical inflation. Also, according to a projected growth in global output, global trade is projected to pick up to 2.3% in 2024 after lagging the pace in 2023. This reflects a partial normalization of trade patterns following exceptional weakness last year. The World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospect report revealed that global trade in goods and services was virtually flat in 2023, growing by an estimated 0.2%, the slowest expansion outside global recessions in the past 50 years. Goods trade is envisaged to start expanding again, while the contribution of services to total trade growth is expected to decrease, aligning more closely with the trade composition patterns observed before the pandemic. And despite recent efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria to bolster the foreign exchange markets through interventions, the currency's downward trend persists, prompting concerns about its potential impact on the broader economy. The depreciation of Nigeria's currencies, despite the federal government receiving a $2.25 billion foreign exchange support from the Afrexim Bank, as well as the Central Bank of Nigeria, offset of $61.64 million Nigeria owed foreign airlines. A check on the Nigerian foreign exchange market window, which showed that on the day the CBN announced it received the funds, December 29th, the Naira was purchased at 898 Naira per dollar and sold at 899 Naira per dollar. The price increased on January 2nd to 913 Naira per dollar. It further went up to 960 Naira per dollar by January 3rd, and by January 4th, the price had risen to 946 Naira. The Naira, however, appreciated by January 5th, selling at 877 Naira per dollar. By January 8th, the price further reduced to 854 Naira, but the price increased to 952 Naira, while January 10, it rose to 1,082 Naira. The black market has been on the increase as Naira was sold at 1,178 Naira on January 3rd. And by January 4th, the price had increased to 1,210 Naira. And by January 5th, it was sold at 1,220 Naira. Similarly, on January 6th, it was sold at 1,222. And this further increased to 1,225. And by January 7th and on January 8th, it was sold at 1,235 Naira. As of January 9th, the price had gone up to 1,243 Naira. Recall that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited had in August of 2023 announced that it had secured a $3 billion emergency loan from the African Export-Import Bank to stabilize the country's volatile foreign exchange market.